of July party of
Yep.
the American Club of Lisbon. How awesome is that?
It's very awesome, except some of us are a little bit bitter that we didn't get invited to that. But I hope you're having a lovely time. How is it being celebrated there? How is it being celebrated? What's happening? Fireworks later on, I'm guessing.
Party. No fireworks. I'm very unhappy about that.
Right.
But good food. American food. Yeah.
American food. So pizza, Mexican food. What other American classics are there tonight?
No, actually we had chicken, American barbecue,
hamburger,
steak, macaroni cheese.
Okay, so yeah, traditionally, thank you, Diana. Should be hot dogs and hamburgers. Well, that's quite enough. Thank you very much.
No hot dogs.
No hot dogs. We're breaking with tradition there. Okay. All right. Well, you are watching. I mean, for anyone who's just joined us, you are watching the Dream Team session here on Expats Portugal, with a little bit of a distraction tonight with Gilda, Carolina, and Sarah in the garden of the American Club in Lisbon. Is that what you said, Gilda? The American Club in Lisbon. That's amazing. We'll have a super evening. I'm guessing you're not staying to answer questions about visas.
Yes, we wouldn't like to do that because the party is pretty awesome.
Okay, well, thank you for rubbing it in, and go have a lovely time. We'll all just be here working, okay? Don't worry about us. Okay, thank you very much.
Drop your questions at our email.
And we will get to them that way. Very good. Loving it. The work ethic is still there. Have a great evening, you ladies. Ciao, ciao. Beijinhos. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Fantastic. Well, there we go. Cinderella's back here in the studio. Good evening to you, Nuno. How are you?
Hello, good evening.
Hello,
so,
how are you?
All good, all good. I'm celebrating.
Good.
But I'm so sorry to everyone, but it's much important for me than the 4th of July for you. It's because it is my birthday's daughter, youngest daughter.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
I'm celebrating
Excellent.
also.
All right. Well, thank you for popping in and saying hi to us. You go and have a lovely evening, and give her a parabéns from us, from everyone at the Expats.
For sure.
So have a lovely evening, mate. Take care and bye for now.
I'm keeping with you some minutes, okay?
Oh, okay. All right. So if there's any very urgent insurance questions, Nuno can take that, but he needs to go and celebrate his daughter's birthday, obviously. Pedro and Carolina are here from the EI offices, or the IE offices in Pedro's case, this evening. How are you, Pedro? Good evening to you.
Great. This week I'm doing some short break, vacation. I'm in the Algarve. But still wanted to join you guys today.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Okay, so he's on holiday too, and we should perhaps give him an early finish. And thanks for being here anyway. So if you've got any questions about taxation here in Portugal, Pedro is your man. Joining us live from his holiday in the Algarve. How is the Algarve, and where does a Portuguese person choose to go in the Algarve for holiday?
I prefer the side of Tavira or Vila Real.
Yep.
It's warmer. The sea, the water temperature is around 24 degrees, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it's really hot. Today was like 35 degrees. It's really hot. But also the food here is, for me, it's the best. More traditional.
Oh.
Like arroz, rice, arroz de lingueirão. Have you heard about it?
No. Which fish is in that rice?
Lingueirão. It's like clams a little bit, but they make an excellent rice with that. It's really good.
Stop it, Pedro. We had enough trouble earlier on. We had Philomena talking about sardines for the last hour, and now we're hearing about beautiful traditional favourites in the Algarve. Really appreciate you joining us from the Eastern Algarve tonight. So any questions about taxation, we'll come back to Pedro on those. I see we've got Daniel Reis as well. Good evening to you, Daniel. How are you?
Yeah, hello. I'm quite all right. Live and kicking from the city of Porto. So I've came up to Porto, and I'm working from the Porto office this Friday.
Wow. Okay. So people are all over in different places. It's like
Yeah.
musical chairs tonight on Expats
Yep.
Portugal. And you can help us with any legal questions. I think one has come in already. Before we go there, because we need to speak to Carolina and Henry as well, of course, welcome them onto the Dream Team panel tonight. What's going on in the world of law and government? I see that ex-PM Antonio Costa has got himself a nice job with the European
Yes.
Council. He's president, right?
He did land a 30K per month job, so that's quite a nice position,
Yes.
and a pension until the end of his days of the same amount. So he did well for himself.
My goodness.
Although everything seemed to be against him because, well, he put the towel down at the time that that political scandal came up, and no one was considering that would eventually be elected, but he is a lucky man, so he got selected for that chair. And on the government news, I've seen. I was driving up, so I didn't have the time to see a lot of news. But it seems that the current government wants to reinstate the NHR, the non-habitual tax resident regime, with some caveats and not connected with pensioners. So it seems that this time the pensioners will be out, but little by little, the measures that were removed by Antonio Costa that were having people coming to Portugal, they seem to be put in place. So I'm hopeful that this would be a turning point in terms of having more expats in Portugal. That's basically my take on the recent news. I'm happy. Let's see if the political announcements do correspond to the laws that need to be approved, but I'm at least hopeful, and it was a good day. It was a good day.
That's some really fresh news as well. That made the papers this morning, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that, Daniel. Come back to you with legal questions. Let's say good evening to Carolina Muralha from Casa Portuguesa. How are you? Boa tarde.
Boa tarde. Hello.
Sorry to welcome you just as you're having a coughing fit there. Are you okay? Everything okay?
Yeah. It's just sometimes when I get how do we say wind coming in different directions when you open windows in different times.
Okay. Yes. All right. That kind of wind. Yes. Fair enough. And is it Cookie who was with you last
here.
time? Cookie
Right.
with us
Give me
tonight.
just a second.
Okay. Come on, Cookie. And the car. There she is. How lovely. Good evening. Delighted to be here again. How is the world of Casa Portuguesa and rentals and purchases?
It's very nice. I thought of an idea to share. Like, the majority of times you ask me which areas are good, and I thought to talk about areas that are not so good.
Oh, okay.
I had a client at the other day that he said, "Oh, I looked at Cacém and I thought it would be a great option. Cacém is where I live, and you don't want to go there."
Oh, really? Bless you. Right.
This is more a residential area.
Yes.
Areas like Cacém, Mãe Martins, Montabrão, they're all in the Central line on the train.
Yeah.
They're usually not the best. You can find sometimes more welcoming prices, but giving the state of the market is less and less probable that you will find good prices in these areas. But once you find them and you think it's a great option, it's not very good. It's like only a residential area where you don't have many services or nice coffee shops. It's not an expat area. So if you
thank you for telling us. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So you have to be proper Portuguese to enjoy living there and to be part of the community, not somewhere for a foreigner to move into necessarily.
How can I say this? I can give my situation. I was born in Lisbon. I grew up in Campo de Ourique.
Did you?
And given the prices, when I moved out, we find a home in Cacém.
Yes.
And it was like, okay, well, that's an option that we can work with. It's not about the community. It's like a suburb area that people go to because they couldn't find any other suitable option.
Understood. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I want to come back and talk to you a bit more because I went to Santarém, which is somewhere you have For the first time, we spent a day as a family in Santarém last Saturday, and we absolutely loved it. So I'll come back to that and get a bit more information from you, perhaps, about that and other places. Thanks for the time being, Carolina and Cookie. And we need to come back to Cookie as well, because Debbie's asking about Cookie. Henry Kent, I think last but not least, and in no particular order tonight, but Henry, how are you?
Very well, sir. Very well. Good evening, everyone.
Good. How are you doing? And you've not been with us that many times. We've seen you in a different capacity on specialist webinars. Can you explain to people what you do at Holborn Assets? That'd be quite useful, I think, to people who are not familiar with you.
Yeah, of course. It's going to become a bit more of a routine, me being here on the Dream Team get-togethers. But for myself and Holborn Assets, we provide financial advice to expats looking to move and are based in Portugal, whether that's retirement planning, reviewing and restructuring of their assets in their home country to make sure that they're compliant for Portugal, and general financial planning and advice.
Very good. Okay, let's stay with you then, because I know you have some investments that you share with people on some of the other specialist webinars that we've run with you at Expats Portugal. Can you comment on this from Tim Denley? As a retirement plan, we've been looking at properties in Spain comprising of an urbanization, typically with a community pool and other communal facilities, which usually add a monthly fee for said facilities. However, we can't find similar scenarios in Portugal where we would prefer to be. Is there a reason for a lack of these kinds of developments, or are we just looking in the wrong areas? There are developments of this kind, and there are investments of that kind that you've encouraged people to look at, I think.
Yeah, maybe not from the retirement planning that we provide.
Right.
Bricks and mortar is usually not something that we recommend directly. However, yeah, they're very popular in southern Spain, aren't they? And I believe in the
Oh, I see what you mean. So the distinction being made there is whether you're investing in it as an investment project or you're choosing to live in it, which is what Tim's is sounding like.
I believe so.
Okay, all right. Thank you for clearing that up for us. Daniel, adding to that, it's not as common in Portugal, but down in the Algarve, you'll find those type of developments.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more and more of them. Cheers for that, Daniel. I think we'll see more and more of those all over Portugal as developers do respond to people coming over as part of their retirement. So, Henry, you're helping people and welcoming questions on retirement planning for those coming from the UK to Portugal and to those who already live here who are UK citizens.
UK and US as well.
UK
we're regulated and licensed to provide.
Of course you are. I've met your
US.
colleague. Yes, absolutely. And I forget your colleague's name, but what's her name? Could you remind me? And how is she?
Marianne, yeah, she's well.
Marianne,
she's very well. Yeah. She's very well. I haven't spoken to her for a few weeks, but no, she's doing okay.
All right, very good. Well, give her our best regards. And before Nunu goes, let's come back to you quickly, Nunu, because you need to go and celebrate your daughter's birthday. Any news from the world of insurance?
Okay, not new news, but yes, regarding healthcare and health systems, both public and private, both are having more and more pressure, delaying the doctor appointments and other treatments or surgeries. So this is something that is in a daily basis as a concern to the government, to everyone. But it's like the kind of news that we see on the Occidental world. So no news. It's just feeling that yes, the government wants to do some changes and to accelerate all of these, but it's been hard to solve the problem.
Right.
Okay, so basically this, regarding some pressure that some clients are having from the banks regarding that they need to oblige them to do property insurance and life insurance on the bank. There are some rules regarding this, so it's not as so clear that banks can do this.
Right.
Because actually they cannot do this. So if you are having some situation related with this, just let us know and we will help you. Also regarding healthcare, take care and be cautious regarding the bills that you are receiving, because hospitals, private hospitals, they are saying that we cannot detect you on the healthcare network. We cannot connect with the healthcare network to check your insurance policy. This is not true. All of them have a direct line to any kind of provider. So Medis, Advanced Care, Allianz, Multicare, because in case of no internet, through a call, they can check and validate that you are insured. So don't accept this.
Right. So it's okay to push back in that situation. Thank you for letting us know that, Nuno. So interesting changes, interesting times in the insurance industry. Please go and enjoy your evening with your daughter, and do send our love and best wishes to her on her birthday evening.
Thank you so much. I'm going to celebrate my 4th of July. You know why now?
Yes, absolutely.
Celebrating yours also. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Nuno, for that. Go have a great time. Thank you very much indeed.
Bye.
And Nuno's very kindly put his number in there, and you can find him and all the rest of the Dream Team members in the Expats Portugal business directory. So Nuno's number's there, and he is inviting you. Go, Nuno, go. Right. Have a great evening, Paulo, to you. Fantastic. Okay, let's go to some of those questions, and they are coming in on YouTube, and we could do with some here from our Zoom crew as well. And we prioritize you over here on Zoom, so do let us know what your questions are. And I think both Daniel and Pedro will have something to say about this NHR situation as it isn't anymore, but how there's a glimmer of hope for a new kind of product. Pedro, did you want to add to that, to the news that Daniel was talking about? And I mean, I know you're on holiday, so you might not have seen it, but have you seen anything about this, and what do you make of it?
I've seen it. Also, it was all over the newspapers, and including the Financial Times. And it's very interesting because the regime is already, the law already exists, but there is a list that is missing from the government, which is a list of the professional activities that will be eligible for tax breaks.
Right.
So it's like Daniel said, this new regime will be focused on active working people. And I think it's very interesting if you think of companies that want to relocate to Portugal, to have their operations in Portugal, and to bring all their human resources to Portugal, because they will be most likely eligible for this kind of tax breaks. But as Daniel said, it will not be for, the tax breaks will not be for pensionists, nor it will be for other types of income like dividends, capital gains, etc. So,
okay,
I'm really excited about it, and I think it was what was lacking from Portugal side to be competitive in terms of tax-wise. So I'm really happy about it.
Good. Welcomed by our experts tonight, and that's good to hear. Thank you. You gave an update to John there about the current situation. The question was, what is the status of the NHR tax situation for expats in Portugal? Great for those who managed to qualify, but as it was no longer available up to the end of last year. Do you want to add anything to that and that status there, Pedro?
Sorry, I didn't see the answer from.
I just wondered if you wanted to voice your answer to John there, which was the old NHR is still possible if some of the requirements are met, which included enrolment in 2023. So you had to show an interest in moving to Portugal before the end of last year. And what you were just talking about is a new possibility, right, for different kinds of people.
The only requirements is that you are not resident in Portugal for the last 5 years.
Okay.
So if you meet these requirements, you will be eligible for the new NHR.
Okay.
But the fact is that you will only benefit from it if you have a value-added activity, like an engineer or some kind of consultation. So some kinds of professional activities will benefit from it, not all.
And that's a change in emphasis, isn't it? Of course, because it was very attractive to people who were retiring, and now not so much more of the active and working professionals who might be interested in that. Thank you very much. Gail, adding a comment, based on the most recent announcement, is my understanding, as mentioned, the focus is on our active working people and salary based. Absolutely right there, Gail. I think from what we can tell from our responses from both Pedro and Daniel, pensions, capital gains, and investment income are excluded. So just to reiterate and confirm, that is the case, right, Pedro?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Thank you. I have a question re NIS, the Social Security and AIMA. Now, as we saw earlier on, Gilda will take questions by email tonight, but is a little bit otherwise engaged on account of the 4th of July. Carolina, from your, can you help with this possibly, or do you work strictly inside Casa Portuguesa? Do you work at all inside the visa department as well?
So I work on EI. I'm on the relocation department. Visa questions are better for the visa department. Sorry, I just do not want to give wrong information.
No, fair enough. I thought I'd ask, and that's a great answer. So thank you. And Debbie, we'll do our best between us with a community effort here.
I think the community will know. So
okay, Debbie, go ahead. Go ahead. Good evening to you.
We're having like a yes, good evening. It's been quite a great day. Anyway, so a friend and I are having a disagreement. Everything I see when I go to AIMA, which by the way, I showed up to AIMA and they had canceled my appointment without telling me. That's terrible because I spent on a hotel room and anyway.
Oh, so, okay, really?
Anyway, so then my friend said, oh, but do you have your NISS? I said, well, I don't need that. I'm not working. He says, oh, you have to have that. So he's saying I have to have it. Everything I look at, it looks like I don't need it. I mean, I can send an email, but does anyone know? I mean, I don't think I need an NISS. I've been retired for years.
I'm like Carolina here, and I don't want to give a wrong answer, but I think no. Carolina might have something for you, though.
I believe it depends on the visa that you are presenting.
D7, retirement, D7.
Yeah. For that, you will not need the Portuguese NIS number because that's for people that are working in Portugal and that need to pay social contributions here to obtain a pension in the future. So as the health system is separated from the social pension system, you can access the healthcare in Portugal, the public system, with the número do utente or the NHS number, the comparable NHS number here in Portugal. And for social security, that's not needed for D7s as you're not working in Portugal.
Thank you. That's what I kept telling them. And I have private health insurance through Winsurance. So thank you so much. So I have to tell my friends, stop bugging me. I don't need the NISS.
And tell them you've got backup and they can watch the recording.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. They need to join.
Yeah, they need to watch this on YouTube. So especially for your friend there. Debbie, so tell us a bit more if you don't mind then. You've had appointments cancelled without your knowledge.
Yeah, so I kept checking, the link that was pasted in my, on the visa in my passport, even up to the morning. Okay, so it was in Espino, or Espino, probably saying that wrong. So and it was in the morning. So I thought, I'm going to go up the day before. Yeah. And so I got a hotel room. I had the train. Of course, I had meals. I had some boat rides, so I spent some money getting up there and I showed up an hour early. Thank goodness I was an hour early. And he's like, oh, well, only one person came to work today. You can't come. I was like, what? I was like, I spent a lot of money. I missed school because I'm going to the University of Coimbra for Portuguese right now. So I missed school. I spent all that money. He's like, too bad. Only one person came to work today. I said, I'll wait. I will wait all day. He said, nope, you can't wait. And he closed the door. He said, wait a minute. And he came back a few minutes later with a typed letter with a new appointment date on it.
Okay, so you got an appointment at least, but in the future, and
second, yeah.
Which is, I guess, the silver lining. But what a terrible experience to have. I think that is unusual, to be fair. Would you say again, sorry, Carolina, to ask you this, but you may have overheard this from other colleagues, but I've not heard of that. And Daniel might have a response as well. That's a staffing shortage. I don't think that's a regular occurrence from what I've seen. No, I think we Daniel.
Yeah, well, I haven't visited CEF for a long time, so I don't know to answer that one, but from the perception that I have is that once they moved from CEF to AIMA, they intended to hire 200 or 300 more people. That appeared in the news, but they're still understaffed. This is the perception that I have, but this is as far as I know.
And a very stressed and pressured workforce as well, subject to such stress, of course. Go on, Carolina.
But Debbie, your appointment was cancelled once you went to AIMA. Was that it?
Yes, yes.
Unfortunately, we've seen this happen sometimes when the system is down and they don't have any way to starting up the system again. And or by lack of staff or by the system breaking down, sometimes they have to reschedule, but they reschedule. Did they
Yes.
reschedule yours?
Yes, not September 5th. And at least that one's in the afternoon, so I can just go up in the morning. I don't have to pay for hotel and, you know, and meals and things like that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Unfortunately, this happens. Sometimes it happens when we go to AIMA with our clients.
Yes.
And sometimes it happens. It's very unfortunate and frustrating.
Yes. Well, thank you for that input. And sorry, it's not better news there, Debbie. And good luck in September. And thank you for
Thank
being here
you.
tonight. Much appreciated.
Thank
It's
you.
true that Daniel hasn't been there for a while because he still calls it Seth, in fact. And this might be for him. Hello from Fiona. My Seth account is held by a lawyer. I don't have access to this Seth account. Do I need access to the account for applying for permanent residency or citizenship? I don't need that account anymore. I'm under the golden visa, 5 years. Thank you. Can you throw any light on that, Daniel, for us?
Yeah, for the golden visa, indeed, the application is done via the website. But the client should request the access to the lawyer, and the lawyer should pass on the access to the client if he wishes to, or either change representation or to have the account in their own name, because basically it's easy to transfer the account from one email to another email. It's just a question of inserting the email as the service provider or the lawyer on their end, and the receiving email will need to click accept, and then that person has the full control of the account. For instance, in my law firm, all the golden visas that we have are centered or concentrated in just one account. It's goldenvisa@reisplican.com, and each process that we have inbound that comes from other colleagues is transferred in this way. So it's very easy to transfer to another email, and the colleague that holds the process will need to do it, because he cannot make the account hostage. That's not a possibility, of course.
Okay, thanks, Daniel, for shedding some light on that. Fiona, I'm sure that helps. Let us know if you have any more questions. You're here in Zoom as an Expats Portugal member. Sign up at expatsportugal.com. And we'll come back to the new WhatsApp group. There's a new feature, well, several new features just recently, including EP Connect, where you can meet other people via the Expats Portugal website and community, and a new WhatsApp group. So I'll say more about that in a little while. Derek joining us. Hi, everyone. Sorry, a bit late watching Andy Murray at Wimbledon from Lagos. I think Henry is also doing that to one side there, which if this was tomorrow night, we'd also be watching the football, I think, as well. Exciting times for Portugal against France tomorrow night. I'll come back to you, Debbie, on that, because it sounds like you're following that and I've got excited in your short time here in Portugal, and find out what you think of that as a newcomer and enjoying football here in Portugal. But welcome to you, Derek. Now we'll be up all night watching UK election results. Well, that's, yes, I'm sorry to hear that. But yes, nail-biting stuff in the UK at the moment as well. Just going back to John G for a moment. My wife and I are retired and are looking to live in Portugal and use a D7 visa. To clarify, is the new NHR program only for working people, or will it include retirees? And is the new NHR program currently in place? So Pedro, could you cover that one more time if you don't mind?
Yes, the new NHR is only for working people. It's the first point. The second, it is already in place, but there is a list that is missing from the government. This happened because we changed government. We had elections. Yep. The previous government they left and they didn't publish it. So the new government will pick this up, and they are trying to do this list more flexible as possible to include as many people as possible. And I hope that it will be published in the next couple of weeks. That's great. What the government.
That's really great to hear. Thank you. And yeah, I think a general sense of agreement, that's going to be a good thing for Portugal and attracting people back to Portugal after the earlier disappointment of the withdrawal of the NHR as we knew it. Right. Diana B, you did say to Carolina here, please let me know if this may be a question better handled by email. I think it'd be a great thing to talk about this evening, if you don't mind, in general terms, Carolina. This is about if you've got your rental contract that some visa applicants require for properties they cannot occupy for some months while they wait their residency visa appointments. And that is definitely a thing. You have to have your tenancy, obviously, to get your visa, which means you might not be able to use the first few weeks and months of your residency, of your tenancy agreement and the place that you're letting. Can you sublet? So generally speaking, Carolina, can you answer that in more general terms, if that's possible?
Yes. So the majority of owners doesn't allow to sublet the apartment. So the scenario is to pay rents without being present.
Yes.
Just because you can have a lease that starts after your VFS appointment, but the likelihood of having an owner that says, okay, we can close a deal, but it's only going to start in 6 months from now, it's very unlikely. So they give preference to who is willing to enter immediately. So the contract has to start right away.
Yeah, thanks for that, Carolina. And Diana, it's a good question. And she responds, that's understandable. Thank you. And it's understandable why you would ask. It just seems a terrible waste, doesn't it, of money to have a tenancy agreement and be paying for a place that you're not using. So understandably, you might ask, can you sublet? It could end up in a pretty unholy situation, of course, if you weren't able to have those people who sublet from you move on, and then you would effectively be homeless in that situation. So it's a tricky one, but there's not a lot we can do about that. Thank you very much. And Debbie, can I read your additional comment to that as well? Where you begin, to be honest, I thought the 2 months I paid for rent on my vacant apartment was nearly the least expensive part of the relocation. We all go through it. So some kind of words of encouragement there, and you just have to kind of take that loss on the chin. If you go to our chat, there is a new WhatsApp group that people on Zoom will be able to see. I would recommend clicking on the picture and blowing it up a little bit, and then using the QR code that's there, and you'll be able to join. I tested it earlier on. You'll be able to join the Expats Portugal WhatsApp group via that facility on there tonight. Good evening to Gemini over at YouTube, and to KDog229. Hello, everyone. The Naunu, happy 4th of July to everyone there. Wishes from India. Thanks, the Naunu. I concern. Hello, sir. Please, could you tell us about the new NHR program? I think we've done that tonight. If there will be money coming from out of Portugal, will that be received in Portugal? Will it be taxed? Okay, so in that scenario, Pedro, could you pick that up? If the money is coming from outside of Portugal, will it be taxed? It sounds like that person might not qualify anyway with the new criteria that you described.
This question regarding the question that you were making, Carl, if money transferred to Portugal will pay tax. If you are just transferring money from one account to the other, that does not qualify for taxable income.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're talking about money coming from out of Portugal as in earned money, and we need to know that to answer the question properly, I think, don't we?
Yeah, but many people do that question. If I'm bringing money from somewhere and I transfer it to Portugal, does that qualify? No, it does not qualify. But if it's earned money from outside of Portugal, it might qualify if it's related to business, or if it's related to your professional activity. Of course, it will be paid taxes in Portugal. That's the same in most countries of OCDE. If the residency attracts income from all over the world.
Yes.
And then that's why we have the conventions to try to reduce or eliminate double taxation. Very
good. Thanks for that, Pedro. Much appreciated for iConcern there. Gemini saying, this is responding to what you said earlier on about the food in Eastern Algarve. It says here on YouTube, the good in trivia is traditional. Now, I think that probably is a typo, and the food in Tavira is traditional. The monkfish soup is delicious. So have you had the monkfish soup, Pedro, on this visit?
No, I did not.
Not yet. Okay, so maybe a little reminder to try that possibly from the extensive menus of the Eastern Algarve, where the food is delicious, as you shared with us earlier on. But no, from Squire of the Shires, and there's a link to the Expats Portugal Business Directory where you can find everybody who's here tonight. That's a link in YouTube at the moment. Matteo, hi. I wanted to know if I want to issue my digital nomad visa in Colombia, and I know someone in Portugal, what would they need to do in order to provide me a rental agreement? You might be able to help with that, Carolina, right? That's what is that? Some sort of attestado from somebody to say that you are going to be living with them when you move to Portugal.
Could you please repeat?
Yeah, this is Matteo, who's in Colombia. And now it sounds like they might have a friend in Portugal who says they can live with them. So what would they need to do? The question is, what would they need to do in order to provide me a rental agreement? I guess send them a rental agreement. But it might be that Matteo means they can live with them, and it's not like a paid tenancy, but it's somebody they're staying with as a friend.
Like an estado de residência.
Yes, that's the one I meant. Yes.
A residency. I don't know how to say estado in English.
Right.
Yeah, that can be an option. But it depends on the parish. So we have to get in contact with the parish to understand what they need, because sometimes they need witnesses. Since Matteo has friends, that wouldn't be an issue, but sometimes they ask for some requirements. So we need to get in touch with the parish first.
Okay, so it's parish dependent. Local rules may apply there, Matteo.
Exactly.
So you need to check with EI how it would work specifically in that location where your friend is living. So reach out to them with the link that's just above your comment over there on YouTube. Staying with you and coming back to Cookie, Carolina. Debbie was asking what breed I think is Cookie.
She doesn't have one. I don't know how to say.
What is it in Portuguese? Because in the UK they call them a Heinz 57, which is 57 varieties in one dog. So what's the Portuguese equivalent of that?
Rafeiro.
Oh, sorry, say that again.
Rafeiro.
Rafeiro. And the translation of that would be what? It's like it sounds like a dog language, like Rafeiro.
Rafeiro is a dog that doesn't have a breed. Usually it's dogs that are abandoned and that are on the streets, and we can't identify a breed. Cookie was found in a trash can along with her mother and her brothers. She was like very tiny, and an association found her, and we found them all, and they went to how do we say, a family that in Portuguese the term is família de acolhimento, foster family.
Yes.
It's a temporary family where they take care of the dogs or the cats until someone adopts them. And we went to Marinhais to pick her up, and she was called Plum.
Oh, fantastic.
The name in Portuguese is Ameixa.
Right. Okay. There you go. Some vocabulary for you as well. And Rafeiro is the kind of dog she is. A mutt, you would say, or a mongrel, I guess. A mutt in the UK.
Okay. I didn't know the word as well. I was looking and I found mutt, but I wasn't like, is this right?
It is. I've got one of those as well here. That I think you should probably expect if you're moving to Portugal to end up with a cat or a dog. It's not enshrined in the law, not yet anyway. So D Murray joining us on YouTube too. I'm a few years out from retiring to Portugal. Good to hear that, D Murray. Do you have a question for us? Yeah, things have dried up a little bit here. I think maybe people are distracted by the tennis. Are they still playing in Wimbledon, Henry?
No, it's finished. They've closed for the evening.
And how was the day at Wimbledon today? If we could be British for a moment and have strawberries and cucumber sandwiches, how was the day at Wimbledon?
It was, well, I wouldn't know. I've been working all day, but
yes, of course. That's the official story. But from what your friends have told you, that you picked up the messages after work, what's been going on at Wimbledon?
I saw that Murray dropped out from the singles and teamed up with his brother, but I believe they've just been knocked out, unfortunately.
No. Okay. All right, not good news for the England squad there at not that England squad, the England tennis squad. Wimbledon there. Okay, so better luck for everyone playing going forward. Now we've got the Olympics about to start as well, haven't we? We've obviously got the Euro 24, Portugal playing tomorrow night, England playing on Saturday. A lot of sport happening at the moment. D Murray, not related, I don't think. Is there a US bank account that is also in Portugal, for example, Barclays, that I can set up? Not Barclays. Carolina, does this cross over with you and the work you're doing? Are there US banks that have branches in Lisbon? I mean, from earlier conversations we've had with Gilda and other colleagues of yours, you need to start up a bank account over here with a Portuguese bank, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you have to start with the Portuguese bank. EI provides that service. So
Yes.
you can send us an email to our general email, so we can help you open an account.
Okay, Jeff, this is a good question, and it's a big yes. Does the group recommend a Portuguese consultancy to handle most of the major processes for relocation? You're actually looking at them on screen tonight. If I may refer to you as that, Dream Team members, as the representatives of the major relocation processes. So absolutely, Jeff. If you've got anything more specific than that, do let me know, and I'll put those questions to the team. Or feel free to unmute. At whatever part of the journey you're on, please unmute or ask your questions in the chat. It'll be a delight to help you tonight. Very emotional is Derek, with previous winners saying goodbye to Andy Murray, although he still has a mixed doubles at the weekend, so not entirely without a chance of some sort of victory at Wimbledon. Thanks for that, Derek. Much appreciated. Staying with you, Carolina, Santarém. Now, I know it's not often on lists for people, is it, as a city to go to and look at. And that's not because it's not a great place, as I found out when I went there last Saturday. What a beautiful city.
Did you went to Almeirim?
Is that the park at the end of town?
No, it's in Santarém district. There's also a city called Almeirim.
Oh, Almeirim. I passed it. I've not been there yet. Not been there.
Also very, very nice. Santarém is it's a great area to live.
Yes.
And you have awesome food. You have, if I'm not mistaken, sopa de pedra.
Okay, the famous stone soup there. Don't worry, everybody. It doesn't actually have stones in it. Not anymore, anyway. There's a great story that goes with that, but we won't tell it right now, Carolina. But yes, good food, as you might expect, or a particular speciality in Santarém. And what I was really taken by is we walked down this little avenue, which was like being in Paris. It was very, in fact, the interesting thing about Santarém, when we were walking around, and it was a family trip over there were parts of it where Luisa, my wife, was saying, this reminds me of that place in the Algarve, Lulé. This reminds me of being in Aveiro. And it was almost like Santarém is the template city for Portugal. And I don't know if it's an ancient city of Portugal, and it's influenced lots of other cities in the country.
I believe it's ancient, sorry.
Right.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes it comes like an underdog region. I don't know why, but it's a lovely one. And you have nature, you have city, you have a great lifestyle. It's more a quiet lifestyle than Lisbon, but it's a great option for who wants to be in a more quiet area, but with services, and you see families all around.
Yes. Yeah,
so it's
very
a great
good.
area.
Yeah, really good. And talking of families, we walked down this Parisian-like avenue, got to the end of the street, and there's a beautiful children's playground and, a great cafe. And you walk to the edge of this park, and suddenly there's this incredible vista, and you can walk up on what looks like a castle wall, and you're looking out over the River Tejo and the railway and agricultural land. It's the most incredible landscape, and it's quite flat there, isn't there? And I think that's the agricultural heart, really, of Portugal, where so much of the food is grown. I absolutely recommend that people take a look at Santarém there. And for reasons we don't know, it doesn't turn up on lists, does it, of where people, as a popular place to go and look?
Not usually. Usually is we are the ones who advise it. Sometimes people want to be, they don't need to be in Lisbon, and they don't have like a big budget. And sometimes there are areas that are more budget friendly, and Santarém it's not as much as it was on the past, but it's a very great option. It's very lovely. I like it a lot.
Yes, me too. Moving from Santarém to Setúbal or Stubble or Stubes or whatever you call it and however you say it, because even people from there pronounce it differently during the same sentence, I think. Why is it so empty? Asks Davi R. And I'm not sure, does that make any, is it a sparsely populated place or is there a public holiday today, Davi? As far as I'm aware, Setúbal is a very popular place and a very busy place.
Yes, it is. Like, for example, Carl, you were speaking about Santarém. Santarém, it's not as moved as Setúbal. So it has less people, it has less movement. Setúbal is, it's a great place to go, especially if you want to go to Lisbon, because you have the train station. And although it's more quiet than Lisbon, it has movements and services and transports. It's a very well served area.
Yep, there you go. We're not sure is the answer to that, Davi. Perhaps you can explain. It might be, generally speaking, if you're from New York or London, often, when you go to cities in Portugal, it does feel like they're a lot quieter. And that's about population density, really. So that might be it. Okay, thanks for all the questions that are coming in. From Fiona, I transferred 100,000 euros from China. How long by law can the BCP bank hold my transfer? They are telling me for 3 weeks and their compliance is still checking my transfer. That must be quite tense, right, Daniel? And I think you'll know the answer to this. 100,000 euros in the air between here and China. Transfer was between personal accounts. What do you say about that?
Well, it's becoming quite common nowadays that Millennium BCP is stopping transfers. We, as you know, do a lot of real estate transactions via our law firm, and we have a client's account that our clients use to transfer money, and that we then apply to purchase the properties that clients do select. And we're seeing a really recent trend of Millennium BCP starting asking questions. It was in the last month and a half, 2 months, we had 4 different transfers for 4 different clients that this happened. So the compliance department from Millennium BCP is asking a lot of questions. The things that they are usually concerned about is the origin of the funds. So they'll need to perceive how the funds were obtained. So recent IRS tax declarations, or if any property were sold abroad in China or elsewhere, if those types of documents are in hand, they're good to deliver with the justification of those transfers, because the more documents that they see to prove the origin of the funds and the amounts that are held by the clients, the better, because compliance departments are really stringent about transfers nowadays, especially coming from China. We're seeing the net getting tighter and tighter. So it's indeed obnoxious. We understand your frustration. In some instances, the best thing to do is just to tell Millennium BCP, forget about it, transfer the money back to the account where the money came, and then use one other bank or one other account to do it, or to do the transfer. Services like, for instance, Spartan FX, they do that type of transfer, and we have used them with success before. So in some cases, the client will transfer the money to Spartan FX, and then Spartan FX will transfer to our account. And if it's coming from Spartan FX, we never had any problems with compliance from Millennium BCP. In terms of the timings itself, regarding the question, there's nothing written in the law. So it's just a question of nagging the bank manager, although the bank managers don't have any specific power to basically to force the compliant department to transfer the money. So it's indeed frustrating. It has happened to us in the past, and it's something that it's a bit difficult to avoid, and do have as much documents as possible provided to the bank, so you satisfy the wishes of compliance. It's the compliance god, as we call it, and they need to be appealed.
Bow down to the compliance god. And I hate to say this, but I mean, this is something we can probably expect more of in the future. It's not going to get any easier anytime soon, is it, I suppose.
The trend that we're seeing nowadays in the last 2 months, we never had any transfer stopped, but in the last 2 months, it happened with 4 different clients. So the trend that we are seeing is that this is quite common. One of the transfers came from the US, another one from Gibraltar, another one from China, so different locations, and all with Millennium BCP, because this is the bank where we held our fees account and our clients account.
Yes.
So our experience with Millennium BCP is that indeed the net is getting tighter. So it can be a problem, especially in a situation that someone needs to do a property acquisition, and they need that money to
Yes.
either pay the remainder of the price,
Yep.
or to pay the down payment. Then they have a contractual deadline. So this can be quite stressful, as it's been in the last months whenever this situation happens. So it's something that we are getting concerned, and I do understand the frustration in the messages over there.
I transferred money via Revolut, or tried to, and that was pushed back into a Millennium BCP account. And it might be a coincidence. These things sometimes happen, and a massive delay when I tried on Wise as well. So it looks like, I mean, is it Millennium BCP specific, or is it a general compliance issue for Portuguese banks?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Is it BCP specific, or do you think it's a general issue for Portuguese banks?
Well, I'm not too sure about other banks. Other clients that have accounts opened in other banks, we use Novo Banco for opening accounts for clients that are buying properties here in Portugal. And with Novo Banco, we never had any major problems. So I can at least talk about Millennium BCP. Novo Banco doesn't seem to be problematic yet, but other banks, I don't have any real experience to report.
Okay, thanks for that, Daniel. Much appreciated. And Fiona, that must be a very well, frightening position to be in, with 100,000 euros in the air and hanging there on the internet. May I ask them to send it back? Is there any law about the time? So can Fiona reverse that, Daniel?
She can, because, well, the compliance cannot hold the money, but basically the email that compliance sends to the customer is something of a sort. We have this amount being transferred. We want to know the origin and what are the purpose of those funds, what you intend to use the funds to. And if you don't want to provide explanations to the bank, or if you just want to reroute the money to some other bank without passing via Millennium BCP, you can indeed state to the bank, please cancel this transfer and transfer the money back to the account of origin. So that's a possibility. And of course, the bank cannot hold the funds indefinitely. In terms of having any time frame that the compliance needs to address, there's nothing written in the law, and they can take as much as they like, because they only release the funds to the Portuguese account when they are fully satisfied with the explanations provided by the client. If they're not satisfied, they will not release the funds, and they can basically hold the money until the client either gives up on the idea of transferring the money to Portugal, or satisfies them correctly with all the documentation regarding the origin of the funds and their intention with the funds. But this is basically a Russian roulette. We had bank transfers that were, I think the bigger one that we had was above 1 million to our client's account, and no questions asked. And some of them smaller ones, like 100K, they're stopped. So it's Russian roulette with Millennium BCP, but this is a recent trend indeed.
It's amazing. Perhaps a little bit of a side issue, but I mean, the money does disappear, doesn't it, for a while? It's absent from the original account, isn't it?
Correct.
And
you don't have access to it. That's
Yes.
the frustrating part, and the thing that gets people really upset, because no one has access to the money. But you can always contact the bank and state, I don't want this transfer anymore. Get the money back to the place that transferred initially, and you're entitled to do this. So the Millennium BCP cannot hold the money indefinitely, and of course they cannot take the money.
I'd love to talk more about this, but we've got quite a few questions that we'll try and get to before 10 tonight. But I mean, where is that money? It's like Schrodinger's bank balance, isn't it? It's
compliance gods. It's with the compliance
it's
gods.
with the compliance gods. Okay, that's all we need to say right now. Now, coming back to Jeff, who asked, when you talk about banking, are we required to use a Portuguese bank, or can we use international banks with offices in USA offices in USA and Portugal, such as Chase in USA. You will need a Portuguese bank account, Jeff. And referring to your earlier question, we've got Gail and Diana respond. Absolutely, says Gail, to your earlier question about whether to use consultants for the major processes of relocation. And as I said, you're looking at them on the screen here. I am using Portuguese consultants for my D7 visa process, including EI. And you can see Pedro, who is from EI, and also Carolina, who's associated via Casa Portuguesa. And I think you might have reached out to her as well, which is great. This has dramatically, says Gail, reduced any associated and potential stress for me. So great testimonial. It's all,
Gilda's there too. She's waving at you.
Gilda, go ahead. Sorry, forgive me. I thought you were busy partying. Come on, Gilda. Or is she just waving? Right. Is she line dancing? I can't actually see her. I'm looking at a different view here. It might just be line dancing at the 4th of July celebrations. I'm not sure. So unmute if you want to, Gilda. I'm standing by ready for you. But Gail says it also has the added benefit of supporting Portuguese businesses, which is also great. So thank you for that, Gail. And 100% recommended to use Expats Portugal's business partners from Jeff. And Astrid, I think you chipped in there. Jeff needs to, as a Expats Portugal member, needs to have the consultation with us, right?
Yes, book a consultation and we can help. Wherever there's gaps that are missing with what he needs to know, then we're here to help. So we can definitely refer him to the right people to make it such a smooth and easy transition.
As other people here,
we will definitely reach out.
Thanks, Jeff. Good to make your acquaintance tonight. Sometimes issues can arise with a financial institution. This is going back to the compliance, I think. The compliance gods or demons, as LaRonda puts it. I couldn't possibly comment. With a financial institution as a consequence of recent audits at that institution where they were found to be too lax. So BCP might be pulling their socks up a little bit at the moment. So the pendulum swings to the opposite direction for a time while they remediate. Thanks, Diana, for that. Excellent stuff. I'll quickly go through as many as I can over on YouTube here. There's nothing going on in Setúbal. Very boring. So Davi, not happy. Well, move. Get Casa Portuguesa's help. Maybe you need to move into Lisbon or Porto. Vicky Roberts, many thanks to EI for their continued help. Came into the chat late, says Vicky, but very happy to report that we have successfully submitted our D7 visa residency application with the VFS Global in San Francisco. A giant step towards our fall arrival. That's fantastic. And congratulations coming to you, I think, from people in the chat over there. We're going to have to leave it there, aren't we, Astrid, tonight? Thank you very, very much for all your questions. We couldn't get to them all, but we'll be doing another one of these next Thursday at 9 o'clock. What's happening next Thursday at 7:30, Astrid?
Next Thursday, we have Daniel on board talking about real estate law. So we've got a 7:30 session with him. So if you're interested in purchasing property or you're looking at selling property, then it's the right webinar for you to know your legal standing for that. So come along on that. But I do want to mention on Saturday, I shared the link in the chat about Hank Kwani's Social Saturday on Saturday evening at 8 o'clock. So feel free to come along and join on that and have some fun. They've also got a Porto meetup. So if you are already here in Portugal and you're in Porto, then there's a meetup. You can get information about that very, very soon in the calendar. And on the 27th of July, we've got another in-person meetup in Tamar. So you can come along and meet Jerry and myself and Carl. Hopefully you're going to come along to this one. So feel free to join that. And then we've got this dream team session every Thursday night with our panel of experts.
Splendid. Excellent stuff. So thank you very much to Carolina Muralha and the other Carolina, who along with Sarah and Gilda seem to be having a very nice time. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Daniel and Nunu, who popped in earlier on. And of course, Pedro Franco of EI as well with that taxation advice. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. And Connie is over there. If you want to chat with her, she's over on the YouTube chat. So thanks for being there, Connie, as well. Take care. Bye for now. And Força Portugal. I'm sure Debbie will agree with me. Getting into the football over here, we'll beat France tomorrow night, won't we? We'll leave it there for now.